Hey everybody, welcome back to another video, and in today's video we will be doing a guide on Pluton. So before we get into the summary of his moves, we're going to be doing a full breakdown. First of all, basically, if you don't know, Pluton is the hardest boss in the game, or one of them, and in tier 16 commissions, which are the commissions that people grind, his type weakness is morale. He is a hard-hitting boss with stun and burning that can end up killing your entire team, as well as killing team commissions, even when you're in a team of, like, let's say 2 to 3 people. You can still end up killing them with burn, which is really bad because you can't get the memories you want because you can't kill Pluton. So I will be talking about the 3 stages of Pluton and the 2 types of Pluton. So quickly briefing the 2 types of Pluton. We have the weak version, which is found in Abyssal Wanderer and kind of switches his modes. When he switches his modes, he spawns only 1 tornado and has less attacks. And the stronger version has all the attacks and basically it has everything you'd expect Pluton to have. He's also in Hot Battle and can also be found in all sorts of other commissions like tier 14 and 15. So Pluton's first stage is a very slow attack. That's what you just need to know. His second stage makes him start charging a lot and fighting more, as well as more fire and coma effects, which can take you out really quickly. And his third stage is easier than his second stage, where he jumps to the middle of the ground and pulling everybody in, and then gets a full-on gold shield that basically prevents him from taking any damage to his health bar, but you can still deal composure damage and you can use your ult. It's just that you can't charge your ult while you're hitting the shield. Anyways, with everything that you guys need now know about Pluton, let's get right into his overview. Alright, now we're going to get into the overview of these Pluton attacks. First attack is a swipe to the right and then to the left, and then he proceeds to spin his axe around and either throw it at you if you're long range or slam it on the ground if you are close range. Now, he also does a step and slashes downwards, which basically can stagger you a lot, but also it's very easy to dodge if you dodge laterally. So for his second attack that he may follow up with would be a wind up to a spin. This is probably always going to be after his first attack, and he kind of just does a spin so you can dash backwards or sideways. It doesn't necessarily matter, but just know if you dash too far to one side, he can actually loop around with his 360 and hit you twice or once depending on how you timed your dodge. Now, the next attack that he kind of follows up with that is kind of the same in the combo is he goes for a stomp on the ground. Very easy to dodge, but then as you get onto his attacks, he ends up doing some other intricate attacks. For example, like kind of sucking in all the air around him, pulling you into the middle, and then hitting you with a ground pound with his ass, jumping into the air and slamming the ground. Now, this attack can be a little bit delayed, but overall, the blast wave is very quick, so it's very easy for you to dodge because the timing's around the same for up close and up far. After this blast, he will spawn a bunch of meteors on the floor, so there can be issues and difficulties there by evading them, but they're very easy to evade. Some of them just spawn right on you, so if you just stay moving or dodging, they will completely miss you and won't have a chance to hit you. The attack afterwards that he followed up with in my game is he ended up putting his knife in the ground and raising his pitchfork up. This is another ground slam move, but not with his ass this time, but with his pitchfork. So he's going to hit the floor with his pitchfork, and the blast wave is slow, so it will vary between close range and long range. I find that it's very easy to dodge close range because right when he slams the floor with a little bit of delay, then you dodge. Where if you are ranged, when he slams the floor, the blast wave can come to you in around 1 to 1.5 seconds, which can mess up your timing because the initial ground slam with his pitchfork isn't necessarily threatening, but the blast wave coming after you is, so it could do a lot of damage to you there. As well, there is a ranged move that can be in this first stage 1 set of move set. Basically, it is going to be a move where he kind of puts up this zone around him that he will kind of swing at with his air, and if you are not in the air that's close to him, it will damage you whether you dodge or you don't dodge. Basically, This is if you were standing way too far away from the boss. The boss is a melee boss, so he will try to pull you in with his attacks as well as deal some of his weird specialty ranged moves that he has, the very few that he has. Even considering he has this unique attack, I don't think ranged characters should be worrying about him. He is a very easy boss to counter when using a ranged character. Sadly though, Morale only has like one ranged character. But yeah, he goes for a lot of boasts and flaunts, kind of like this one right here. And basically, this leaves him vulnerable to a bunch of attacks, so you can just go up to the boss and attack him there. After this, he slams his knife into the ground and then does another pitchfork kind of ground slam here as well. And this boss can be staggered after the abilities. I'm not sure about currently mid ability, but I think you can with some moves depending on how valuable they are and how much actual basically how much stagger break they have. So there are a couple moves that he has, for example the mode switch, where he starts off with slamming the ground with, this time not with his pitchfork but with the end of his knife, the point of his knife, slams it down and does a huge AoE effect, as well with an explosion that doesn't deal damage, but what does deal damage is the tornadoes he spawns directly in front of him, as well as the fire. So the tornadoes can deal coma, like I said, and also the fire can deal burn. The comas can make you basically paralyzed, and also the tornadoes can stagger you. I suggest not standing close to these attacks, trying to distance you away from them. But after he does these tornadoes, they will separate and they will fly more towards the outside. And that's when you can strike inwards. Just watch out for flames, because if you walk through these flames, they will deal burn and damage to you, potentially exploding and staggering you as well. The attack that he followed up was basically a rock throw. He grabs his pitchfork into the ground and then he lifts it out carrying a rock. This attack is completely harmless close range, as he does not deal any damage whatsoever when he is point blank to you. But when you're at afar, the rocks can pose a threat to you. Sometimes in his mode, they will split into two. I find that it's very easy to counter because it is a very easy time dodge. Now, after he throws this rock, he will go into a charge. This is basically his main gimmick. He will charge around the map constantly. He has like around 2 to 3 types of different charges, and they all really kind of travel the same distance, but he does do really different things with it. So first charge, he kind of runs forward and then he slams the ground with the knife, targeting you. Now, if you are close, you can dodge it, right? But if you are far, he will shoot fire at you that kind of spawns on the floor and that will explode on the floor as well. So even if you dodge the first attack, the fire can still come and get you later. So then he goes for a second strike to you with his knife, can be long range, like I said with the fire, and then he grabs his pitchfork and either throws it at you, right, with his backhand, or he tries to lunge at you with his pitchfork. Now, you can kind of try to dash inwards while he's doing this and targeting you to commit the attack, and then he goes for a close range attack and then just dodge out of the distance, and then he completely whiffs on his attack. Or you can just stay ranged and let him throw the pitchfork at you and try to dodge it. Kind of as he goes in here, he goes for a second charge, which basically is a windup of his knife and fork. And basically he spins around, does another slash as well in his spin, and slams the ground with his knife, as well as slamming it again with his knife, and then again a third time, as well as the pitchfork. So it's a very similar move to the first one, though this one has 3 knife variations, I believe, and it is slightly different with an added input. So that's something I'd like to note. But other attacks is basically he kind of clashes his fork and knife together, and then he goes for a slam again, and then he goes for another spin. But this time, instead of going for a second hit on his spin, he puts his fork into the ground, pivots off the fork, launches himself in the air, and stabs the ground with his fork. Okay, now after this move, he did do another taunt move where he kind of roared in the air here. Nothing too base threatening here, but it basically makes it so you have a kind of window to launch a bunch of your attacks without worrying that he can attack back. Now, after this, he did go for a bunch of swipes here into the corner of the map, as well as a swipe back facing the middle. And this is going to be a pretty easy attack to dodge as well. And it's kind of a pretty default attack that he kind of uses to get around the map more than just attack you with. So you kind of do have to follow him around here, but if you dash backwards, make sure he isn't running into you or you will get caught in his attack. Now, he does also have the rock throw in his stage 2 attack here. As you could see, it was pretty basic, but it can split into 2 at times, just not for this battle particularly. He also does have a roar, and this roar can basically, like I said, make him vulnerable. Even though it's a battle cry, it really does nothing for him, and it can leave him vulnerable to attacks. Now, another charge, which is going to be just a regular charge, he's going to dash into the side and then, of course, swipe into the middle. But this time, he's going to go for his mode switch. So what this attack does is it may look different, but note that if he's on 7 bars, he will do it. 7 HP bars, around 6 to 8, it can be. But basically, he does the same swipe to the middle, but this time, instantly after doing it, he gets into a jumping position and jumps towards the middle. Now, this attack is not going to do too much AoE damage, but you do want to dodge it. It's not that big of a radius, but again, like I said, you don't want to be hit with it, because after he uses this move, he's going to suck in with a tornado. So the way to dodge this is to literally dodge outwards away from it to the borders of the map, and then proceed to walk away from it, because if you're far, you can just walk away from it. It slowly pulls you in, but of course, dodge will keep a lot of distance. So after he uses this mode, if you are close to him, he will actually activate an explosion. And this may look very subtle, but what it does is it can give you a bunch of burn and damage. Now, burn is very bad because it will annihilate your health bar. One burn will basically take out like 2/3 of your health bar at the bare minimum. Okay, so his main, again, like I said, his main attacks aren't a threat. The burn and coma is what makes it a huge threat. Now, coma is very minor in some matches, but also burn is always prominent in every single match you play against him, or every single fight. He will apply burn every time you hit, basically, almost every time he hits. So another move he has is basically pulling you in again, but this time what he does is he just screams out. Now, what this does in his mode 3 is it doesn't actually deal damage to you, but it summons a bunch of meteors that rain down for a long amount of time. So after this, he might do his roar thing, but then the second attack that rarely happens during the battles is he is going to charge up his pitchfork with some aura around the tip of his pitchfork and launch it. And this is going to deal an insane amount of slamming damage and warp your screen, but it is very basic to kind of like stage 1. It very much resembles the stage 1 pitchfork attack, but has a much slower windup. Now, some other stage 1 attacks that he has is, of course, the sucking in and jumping, and then he will also rain down much more meteors than he did in the first one. So there is that as well. And then, of course, the basic pitchfork kind of lunge that he does. So stage 2 is actually more difficult to beat than stage 1, or stage 3 and stage 1, because stage 3 basically has stage 1 attacks, but slightly modified. And in fact, I may find these easier because they have a larger windup, depending on what attacks have been upgraded. Now, he goes back all the way into stage 1 and does all of his attacks. Very normal stuff here. Very run-of-the-mill, but nothing really to note as you exits the mode. But basically, he deals decent damage and really just ends up becoming a sitting duck just in the middle of the map doing nothing. Alright, so now that I've told you guys about how to beat Pluton, we're really going to put it to the test here. We're just going to basically do a Pluton commission here, and I'll show you guys how to absolutely destroy him. So we're going to get into a Pluton fight. Let's go here for this one. And as you can see, I'm currently running a whole morale team as well as Genos to hold him in place with his composure reduction. I could also run Spring Mustachio if I wanted to, but I'm running Genos because higher composure reduction. So I'll show you guys basically how to destroy him instantly. So first of all, we're going to go for our arms and then mode, dash into him, right? Use our ability here. And of course, our ability will dodge most of his attacks. Here I dodged one of them. Charge up my attack. Dodge again. Charge up another attack. He hits my other teammate, so I don't have to dodge. And I'm just going to keep doing some damage to him. Like that. There we go. As we're dealing some good amount of damage to him, you can see his health bar is absolutely going down. And then here come the tornadoes. I'm just going to make sure I don't get hit by them. And then, again, keep dodging and attacking. So again, like I said, it's really hard to die to Pluton now if you're playing a team commission. But for example, if you're doing a different commission, here I'm trying to break. Okay, I can't break the mode. As you can see, I'm being stun locked. But it's pretty easy to dodge his attacks, and as you can see, I'm not taking too much damage, but my teammates are actually dying really quickly. So you got to make sure that if you are being hit, make sure you don't end up actually dying. So if you're going to be hit very often here, what you want to be doing with your team is bringing along a healer. For example, I'm going to use some other characters here. I'm going to do another Pluton quest, but instead I will use people with very low defense stats. So let's go find someone with a low defense stat. We're going Fubuki, she's low. Lily, she has a very low stat of defense. And then we're gonna run, let's say, who has low defense? Golden Ball. And then we're gonna play Silver Fang. Okay, so this battle is gonna take a while, but I'll show you guys how to actually kind of stop him in his tracks. So, as you can see here, I'm just attacking like regular. But yeah, I'm gonna try to trigger flickering. There we go, we hit another flicker move. And we're just gonna quickly get him here. As you can see, like, I'm trying to counter him, and all of our team has very low. I'm gonna parry again. Okay, I'm gonna back up now so I don't get hit by the tornadoes, and run right through the fire here. Make sure I don't actually get hit by the fire itself. He's gonna charge to the side. Again, there was a flaw right there. I dodged away, so I actually got hit twice by the charge. So I'm gonna go for another parry, and basically try to like chip him down, right? So as you can see, the fire and a lot of his attacks do give coma and burn, as you can see on my screen right here. And you'll actually end up taking a lot of damage if you end up maxing these out. Now, as you can see, low health points, no problem. Low defense, no problem, because we had Silver Fang. But now, since Silver Fang's heal is up, you're going to see that Lily ends up dying because she has nothing to rely on. So as you can see, she's kind of... Okay, I'm getting kind of stuck here. Okay, I didn't parry it, but I need to be a little closer for that. But as you can see, Lily just died. She didn't end up getting a proper kill on her, or a proper defeat on Pluton before dying, because she doesn't really have the best defense stats, so she ended up dying first, right? That's why defense is important, but obviously attack is the most important. So if you're going to run any sort of attack or focus on anything, it should probably be attack. So again, like I said, you want to just run attack. It's fine if you don't have much defense. Just main the character and hope that you don't end up dying. Try to dodge all the attacks. But as you can see, she's kind of lowering on HP. And even though they had low defense, they still ended up surviving till really late in the battle. And Pluton's a very strong boss. So, of course, but these are my worst characters again, like I said. And as you can see here, the stats. Golden Ball did end up having a lot of damage, actually. But Silver Fang's heal kept us in check. So, there are healer characters like Fubuki, Silver Fang, and Prisoner Sonic. So, if you have the arms, it makes it much, much easier to actually complete the commission. But there you guys have it. That is how to beat Pluton's commission every single time, as well as team commissions, where instead the kind of playstyle you would make would be more careful and you would want to play more passive, waiting for opportunities and openings on the boss. But anyways, thanks so much for watching today's video, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Have fun, everybody. Have a great day. Subscribe, like, and I'll see you guys in the next one.